all this innovation does not get translated in the field as technologists. There is a wide gap. We all have to acknowledge the fact. Bombay IIT has a technology innovation hub which has created this Bharat Gen 280 crores, or your large language model has been that is one of the success stories of Bombay IIT. And IIT Indore has given come up with wonderful technology where AI can be interfaced with medical technologies. Translation of the technology is developed by scientists in the lab for the field where common people are using this technology. This 25 India's population, this 25 technology hubs will not meet all the things. They are mostly situated in IITs and ISF. So as a second step, we have now decided that we'll have hub and spoke model where tier 2 cities, universities will connect with the IITs and ISRs so that they also get the benefit. And this is going to support it to become the world leaders. विश्वगुरु बनना है तो डीप टेक startups में इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ता. Our annual capacity building plan, if we have 38 programs, 40% of the 38 programs will be exclusively for women scientists. This will be in addition to the regular programs in which both men and women scientists can participate. We have started this process of scientific diplomacy. This is one of the soft diplomacy where our scientists become brand ambassadors who spread the message loud and clear to the entire world that India has such wonderful science and technology.
Welcome to APAC Media's Good Governance series. Srimati Dhanlakshmi ma'am, it is our pleasure to have you with us today to discuss the pivotal role of Department of Science and Technology in shaping India's future.
First question I would like to ask is, how is DST aligning its priorities with the goal of Viksit Bharat 2047, especially in the emerging technologies like AI, quantum, and clean energy?
Viksit Bharat by 2047 is a major goal, and DST, not only DST, all scientific ministries have a goal of addressing the major problems of the country will face in 2047. There are three buckets of these problems. The first bucket is the safety and security, because the sovereignty of the country has to be protected. So in order to have a foolproof security, number one, our border security is being done with the emerging technology, with the AIs, all those technologies we use, we upgrade ourselves. And then number two is cyber security. We have to protect ourselves from the cyber attack. So battles are not fought in the field now. It is all fought with the technology now. So DST and all other scientific ministries are grooming themselves, reorienting their vision to achieve this kind of foolproof security where we are all safe. This is one of the main concerns. The second bucket is the sustainability. We have to ensure that by 2047, be it agriculture, be it technological innovation, be it supercomputing mission or quantum. See, in every field, we should achieve self-sufficiency in a very sustainable way. So we have several missions for this purpose, like our National Supercomputing Mission, National Quantum Mission, NMICPS, where we have incubation centers for technology startups. So these sustain, and there is a prediction, mathematical modeling that says by 2047 there will be we will not be able to produce enough milk for the growing population of the country. So the scientists in biotechnology field are trying their best to mitigate this problem by providing substitutes for this, because even if you increase the number of cattle wealth, you will not have the area required for growing these cattle. So we have to find for sustainable alternative food productive methods and safe methods. So these we have already started in this line, and we are going to develop technologies, national bio mission, all these things, which will cater to the sustainable development of the country. And the last thing is, climate change mitigation.
Wow.
Yeah, lot of problems. The third bucket is climate change. Lot of climate problems are arising because of unprecedented rains, droughts, all those things. So we have to have a proper plan in to handle all these situations at 2047. By the time we reach 2047, our country should be both clean energy, we should be energy efficient, we should be sufficient clean energy. We should have mechanisms which will give us warning, earthquake warning or flood warning or disaster warning much before, so that we are able to handle these kind of things, natural calamities. And apart from that, we have several alternative energy, I mean hydrogen energy mission. We have collaborated with 25 in different countries for MI mission innovation, where we have developed several strategies by which we can overcome all these problems created by uh, climate change mitigation. For that, we have several programs, e-vehicle development, and some of the projects where the used batteries of the vehicles, once they are discarded, they will become a major climatic challenge. So we have mechanisms by which we are developing innovative ideas by which we can reuse it or safely dispose of all these harmful products. Other than that, we have methane mitigation programs. We have an entire cell industry which is handling this climate change problem. CCU, carbon, we should not leave carbon treatment. So we have a department which handles all this carbon efficiency. All those. This is how we are going to plan and implement Vision Bharat 2047.
Okay. Ma'am, since you have mentioned already, there right now there are no battles which are fought in the field, and we are having the battles on the websites or digital world basically. So for the battles, we need the soldiers also. So for on that note, I would like to ask, India has a rich pool of scientific talent, and from there we would need all the soldiers will be coming in to the mainstream. So, but it faces challenges in converting, research into the commercial innovation. So, what steps DST is taking to increase the talent pool and bridge the gap among academia, industry, and startups?
So India is number 3 when it comes to highest number of papers being published, PhD. The gap between India and the number 2 is very high. Of course, still we have a larger gap between India is next only to India and US and China to publish. We publish per year 700 papers. I mean, high quality technology, innovative papers. But the problem is, all this innovation does not get translated in the field as technologists. There is a wide gap. We all have to acknowledge the fact. But DST has several mechanisms. Like we have incubation centers, we have the translational research. Like any product, when it the minds, it is in the papers, technology innovation, has to be translated into a product which will be consumed by the people. For that, for the translation research, we have several mechanisms. One is we encourage innovations, and we provide funding for several startups. From 25,000 startups 10 years back, we have 35,000 startups, and it's 4 or 5 times increase. And all these startups are elsewhere, most of them have been funded by DST. Of course, I acknowledge there are other departments which do fund that. Skill India, MITI has a program, but the IDIS is my MSMEs. There are several other departments in Government of India who also try to translate the research into the research from the lab into the field. But DST has one major mission called NMIPS, National Cyber Physical System Mission, in which we have created 25 technology innovation hubs all the country in all premier institutions like IITs and ISers. Okay, these innovation hubs are places where all these technologies are translated into field where it's like you have. I can give you several examples. Bombay IIT has a technology innovation hub which has created this Bharat Gen 280 crores, or your large language model has been that is one of the success stories of Bombay IIT. And IIT Indore has given come up with wonderful technology. AI can be interfaced with medical technologies, and they have got wonderful things. And we have one Sri Chitra Thirunar Institute, which is one of our AIs. It is a medical institute, Thiruvananthapuram. They have come with their own wall, which is 70% cheaper than the imported hard wall, and this is more efficient, if not lesser than an imported wall. See, this makes accessible the technology which was invented in the lab more accessible to the people. Now they have, after inventing the technology, after testing it, when it reached the mature stage, they have handed it over to a company which is mass producing. And similarly, your vaccines, DBT has developed several vaccines in their labs, and they are now given to the public sector or private sector for multiplying the units and then large scale production, and for efficiently distribution. Because as government invent technologies, we can find the formulas, or we can do the core research activities. After translating it into a scalable model, it is given to the other agencies who will multiply this technology and ensure that it is reaching the concerned or the user the right proportion and right sense. So this 25 innovation Indore has done a great job in translating innovations into the field in medical health, and have all your telemedicines. They have a system. They have developed a phone which can monitor your all health parameters like your blood sugar, one go, they can use such a mobile kind of device will scan your reports, and then it will maintain a record and real-time surgeries. Surgeons who are, high quality surgeons who are highly technical people, they cannot be available all over the country, but their advice, technical advice, can be available. So they, through guided telemedicines or technology-driven translational researchers, they have found ways in which an expert can guide on the local doctors to perform complicated surgeries with accuracy. All these things are done by IIT Indore. In addition, IIT Tirupati has come out with wonderful technologies, and IIT Kanpur has developed with a municipality of Nagpur have tied up and found technology which will avoid accidents in the vehicle. IIT Hyderabad has come up with anti-pollution vehicle system. They have developed the air taxi model with a diesel. So we have 25 technology innovation hubs throughout the length and breadth of the country, and they are doing this translational research. Whatever is, I mean, the product of a research is being delivered to the field, and IIT Roper is doing wonderful work study in agriculture. IIT and heard about drone DDs, the ladies being trained in using drone for spraying the pesticides and these are, what are these are all the translation of the technologies developed by scientists in the lab to the field where common people are using this technology. So I can go on and on, right? I can't finish in 3 hours or 5 hours the translation technologies, which are 25 technology hubs all over the country has done. But still, this 25 areas population, this 25 technology hubs will not meet all the thing. They are mostly situated in IITs and ISF. So as a second step, we have now decided that we'll have hub and spoke model where tier 2 cities, universities, when you connect with the IITs and ISers, so that they also get the benefit. These IITs who have been, I mean, this NMICPS project has been in the field for the past 5 years,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
given an extension of 2 years after a proper evaluation of their performance. Now, in the second stage, they are mentors who is going to mentor the tier 2 colleges all over the country so that it's overall development.
Okay. Since we are talking about the nurturing grounds, you have described to us how the IITs and other institutions are actually becoming the nurturing ground of the researchers and the future prospects of India's future for the Viksit Bharat goal. So the next question on this line I would like to ask is, BST also implements various schemes as we discussed previously, and that is to promote research, innovation, and capacity building. So could you please provide more details into, regarding the current status of such schemes, major schemes as of now?
Like we have several schemes, and more recently, all these schemes have been merged into a single umbrella called Vigyan Dhara. So earlier we used to have several independent schemes. Now, after this recent AFC cabinet approval, we have merged all our schemes into a single unit called Yandara. Within that, we have three multiples. One is facility capacity building. All the funds we give for the scholarship, motivation, return to pursue STEM, I mean science, engineering, and technology, civil, or all the scholarship funding we give for postdoctoral research for all this comes under recently capacity building. We have several schemes like Inspire Fund, and the Wise Kiran, Shield schemes. All these schemes will take care of the capacity building of the scientific talent all over the country. So the other barrel is R&D, research and development. In this research development, we have several schemes which over Sati, SAFE, Swiss, Purge, all these things promote research research and innovation in the country. How do we do that? There are certain missionaries which are very expensive. So we locate them in major cities and we have a website in which suppose a researcher would like to, these machines will cost several crores and we cannot have such a heavy machinery which will promote R&D in every institution. So what we have placed it a centrally located university and we have created a app where any user can register for a particular time, for a particular day, for a particular period, and then it doesn't clash with others. They can come once they register, they will be provided that slot. They can come to their research and then take their answers back. So there is no breadth of availability of R&D research equipments.
Okay.
That is one program. So
Okay.
we have site where all these things are compiled and get so any user can access that site and focus lot resource facility. And there are several machineries which were procured 10 years back, 5 years back, 20 years back, which is heavy investment for repairs and renovations. So grants for those machineries also, so that they are in a see, educational institutions cannot per se afford to maintain such heavily with their so we do give grant to maintain all that existing machinery so that they are up to date in their functioning all those things. Apart from that, we give grants to college students to pursue researchers within their university. So we have several programs like FIST, PERS, SAIN, SATI, all these things, details are available in our website. That is the R&D vector sector. Apart from that, we have a geospatial mission. We have we have formed a mission called National Geospatial Mission. We have formed certain guides for access and use of the resources under geospatial mission. So these are the three major verticals. Within these three major verticals, we have several programs. Some of the programs are promoting the incubation of young talent. We give what Nidhi, we have schemes like Nidhi, where we give up to 1 crore fund for a startup to start manifest their ideas, to build their ideas into a product. And we have Nidhi year early grant, just so that is up to 25 lakhs per person. And then we have about 4 other schemes in Moodle. Totally, this technology, we have a division called technology, a TTR division, technology, translation and innovation division, which is the major funding for all these startups in the country. So we do Nidhi Prayas, Nidhi, yeah, we give fellowships to these people and Nidhi Seed
Okay.
first one we get startup fund. So we have several programs for boosting the startup culture.
Culture.
Problem is, let me say, so far we have been doing great in nurturing startups, but all our major 70% of our startups are in service sector. That will not carry our country much ahead in when it comes to innovation and technology. So we should focus. Now we have done enough for the service sector. We are in fact having more number of service sector startups than we as a country need. So we have to plan for the technology, deep technology startups. So we have make sure, I mean, these deep technology startups will place our country much higher in the overall ranking of innovations and startup. And these deep technology startups will generate employment, create better technologies for the welfare of the society, and this is going to support it to become the world leaders. विश्वगुरु बनना है तो deep tech startups में invest करना पड़ता. So we have recently the cabinet has approved a fund called RDI Fund, Research Development and Innovation Fund. So this will be operated by a special purpose vehicle created under the Anusandhan National Research Fellowship Program. It is an autonomous body working within DST. I mean, along with DST, purpose vehicle will be created. The scheme guidelines are being formulated. Once this is done, people will start using. It will become a venture capital. You know, all this. Why are people mostly going to service sector startups? Because you know there are low hanging fruits. Investment, and with a little time, you get guaranteed research and service sector, because the sheer population of the country supports and promotes this kind of service sector, like
Right.
Metro, Ola, all the
Mm.
service. But now, this is enough. We have to concentrate now on deep tech startups. Like, we have to find startups should, find supercomputing, and they should work on supercomputers. They have to do quantum computing. They have
Mm.
cloud superconductors, the semiconductors being
Mm.
manufactured. Yeah. For that, we need deep tech startups, and these startups have long gestation period. Right. And
Absolutely.
the success rate of these startups are also, compared to this service sector startup, little less,
Mhm.
because there are chances that it may not reach it. So in
Mhm.
order to mitigate that gap, in order to give security to the people who are entering into deep tech startup field,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
in case you fail, the government is holding you back. This is a
Yeah.
scheme called
Mm.
RDI scheme. So we will give you venture capitals without
Mhm.
insisting on security and even equity in the initial stages. After
Okay.
you become successful startup, then we may get RDI fund back through equities.
Mm.
Uh, but till that time, the startup should focus on technology and not on the funding part.
Mm.
So we are taking care of the funding part through RDI fund. Instead of retailing funds of 1,000 PI, we will have 4, 5, major agencies who will
Mm.
take funds from us, and they will in turn give guarantee-free loans or support to the tech startups, and without insisting on guarantees or equities. Suppose if I invest some money in a tech startup finance, you have to give me 70% of your equity.
Yeah. Right.
They may not be
Mm.
motivated to make this
Mm.
program a success, because
Mm.
their share is only 30%. So you
Mm.
can pay, you cannot. So we say, till you reach a particular state, you enjoy 100%. But
Mm.
once you reach a successful state with double repaying, you have to repay. But then we will insist on
Mm.
it.
Right. Right.
That is our ideas.
Okay. So, since we are talking about all the how we can inspire the startups, the talent pool, growth of the research and development in the country, I would like to ask one particular question about the how DST is supporting women scientists and researchers across the country, specifically for that matter, tier two, tier three cities, through for that example of through your women and science and engineering Kiran wise Kiran initiative. How you guys are planning the step by step process?
Yeah, I told you, within the Vigyan Dhara, we have
Mhm.
3 verticals, and
Mm.
one vertical is exclusively for science and technology
Mhm.
capacity building. So
Mm.
our ministry department has a mandate to capacity build all the scientists all over the country. We
Mm.
have an exclusive training budget. Anyway, DST has the mandate to train not only Department of Science, Ministry of Science and Technology scientists, DST,
Mhm.
DB, CSAR, and etc. But
Mhm.
we train scientists from all over the country, from all departments. It may be agricultural scientists, it may be in roads development scientists, it may be soil scientists, it may be disaster mitigation scientists.
Mm.
We have all. In that, we have a mandate that, suppose I am giving you an example, if
Mm.
1,000 started for training, then 40% of that should be for women scientists training. We do our annual capacity building plan. If we
Mm.
have 38 programs,
Okay.
40% of the 38 programs will be exclusively for women scientists.
Mhm.
This will be in addition to the regular programs in which both men and women scientists can participate. So that is the importance which DST gives for women's. Apart from that, you have S&T capacity building, science and technology capacity building schemes. We have Manak, Inspire Manak, and Mind Aspiration. Um, we DST has reached every block, village, panchayat level through this because we have we conduct competitions for innovative project building from schools in the uh, village panchayat level. So schools, we conduct this program. We enroll all these schools in the country, and initially we have 8 lakhs children enrolled for in DST's Manak program, Inspire Manak program, where they will enroll themselves and they will come with a creative project modeling. Schools create models and projects. So, based on the creativity, uniqueness, and innovation at the school level, they 1% of the projects will be selected in the village level. And then the next level competition will be done at the block and district level.
Okay.
All the schools in that block will participate. They will again take the top 3 models in that block, and all the blocks in the district will participate in a competition. We will conduct those competitions. So these toppers from the district level will have a state level competition.
Okay.
Okay, from 8 lakhs it will become 4 lakhs, from 4 lakhs it will become 2 lakhs when it comes to state level, and when it comes to national level, 1 lakh participants will come. All the top projects. In national level, again we'll have series of competitions, and finally last year around 58 children
Okay.
were selected, and they were asked, they were awarded, given prize by the minister or Rashtrapati, whoever it is. So these 58 innovators are from the of 8 to 15, and they have developed the best projects. Okay. After that, we have an international level competition in US.
Okay.
These children will be accompanied by some of our faculty, and they will go and exhibit their projects. They have mentoring all along. Government will give them the best projects will get 50,000 at one point, 8,000 at one point, 5,000 at one point. And if they go to international level, they'll get 1 lakh per project. And fair. Out of 58 children who have gone to US, 13 children got international level prizes.
Okay.
This is the kind of initiative DST takes to bring children, to attract children to science, technology, STEM programs.
STEM programs. Yeah.
We have Vigyan Vitushi, we have women by student program, we have She Scholarship for Higher Education program, we have women who have taken a break in career. In India, by the time these people reach PhD, they reach an age where the society forces them to get married. And when they start their family, they have children, they sometimes may not have enough support to pursue their PhD, postdoctoral program after PhD, or find a productive employment after PhD. So these women who have taken a break to raise a family or get ready, they will be given a second chance. DST will, we have been running schemes where we will invite applications from them, train in IPR, intellectual property registrations. So those who have taken a break in their career will come back to the workforce. If they are ready to do a postdoctoral, we will give scholarship for them to continue their postdoctoral studies and then get productively employed. If they want to do a part-time research, they don't want to be a full-time employed scientist, then we give them a training in IPR registration, and they become the leaders in registering IPRs, intellectual property rights. It's a win-win situation.
Right.
You get those people who are who have taken a career break to become a proper scientist again with their
Right.
educational. And
Right.
other side, these people who have created some patent, who need
Mm.
help in patent registration, are getting help from these women. They become more for us. So this way,
Mm.
we have several programs, postdoctoral scholarship. We have scope programs for women. You know, the university has several programs for women-centric programs.
Right, right. So, since you mentioned once about the STEM program, I really want to stress on that fact that how do you foresee women's participation in the STEM education? Because from there, we will be getting all the women scientists and the researchers for the future of India.
Yeah, you are right. But statistics, because of consistent and persistent support from DSG and other awareness created in the society, earlier days, women were left to join these STEM programs like science, engineering,
Yeah.
technology programs. They
Mm.
were liking to take art or
Mm.
other programs because they thought it is easier and that will be giving them a peaceful family life. But
Mm.
the statistics change.
Yeah.
I mean, most of our programs have become successful in this way that more number of people are working. You know, if you go to any medical college, you find more number of girl children in the medical college than the number of boys. Similarly, everywhere in STEM,
Mm.
the consistent initiative of the government in promoting women, encouraging women to take part in science and technology. I mean, these kind of programs have borne fruit. We do have large number of women scientists in DSG. We have more number of women scientists than men scientists. Not only DSG on the world. It's not only in the scientist field. We have very good medical doctors who are women. We have very good engineers who are women. We have very good technicians who are women. So that attitude change for promoting women in STEM has already reached a very wonderful stage. So
Yeah.
we have to say it's one of our success stories. Not
Absolutely.
only the success story, it is government of India success story as a whole. We give mentor the children, and we promote them to take science education in their studies by conducting training classes to them, creating awareness among them. Our mentors go to these schools and explain them the advantage of doing STEM programs. So we
Mm.
have an exclusive program called Vigyan Jyoti, which
Okay.
through which we still motivate children in their young age to take part in STEM programs.
So,
So still
so
STEM as career options.
right. So the Vigyan Jyoti program you mentioned, I would like to know,
That is within our
is
SLT
there,
capacity.
okay, so is it there any class,
Six
specific
to
areas like 6 to 7 or 5 to 7?
it is 6 to 10th.
6 to 10th.
See, after 10, they decide their field. Their STEM education is
Hmm.
already decided. So it is from class 6 to 10. We have mentors going to every school and then
Okay.
guiding the children in STEM programs. What are the advantages? What will be the benefits of taking STEM as a higher educational option? All that.
Ma'am, so right now I would like to know, since you have described it very thoroughly, how we are going to see the Viksit Bharat for 2047 till 2047, and how women are going to be taking the leading part. They are into the mainstream right now. So, what DST's are top priorities you'd like to say in terms of this financial 2025-26 and the next financial year, in terms of collaboration and scientific engagements?
See, we have a major mission called National Quantum Mission.
Hmm.
So we are, trying to boost the quantum technologies in India. So
Okay.
this National Quantum Mission has four verticals.
Okay.
Number one, quantum material production.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow the other sectors we have been following the country, but in the field of quantum, other countries in other sectors, but in the field of quantum, India may lead the world next only
No.
to US and China, because we are a little ahead in technology. We don't want to miss the bus this time. We want to be ahead of others in the development of quantum technology. So, quantum machine has four verticals.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, the guidelines have been published. The first call has been announced. Two institutes have been shortlisted for uh, implementing this quantum mission, national quantum mission. The
Hmm.
national quantum mission has four verticals: quantum computing, quantum communication, quantum sensing and metrology, quantum material and devices. So I
Okay.
was talking about the quantum material and device, where we will, create the uh, infrastructure for building
Mm-hmm.
quantum computers.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum communication is a field where, quantum computers are used for high speed, reliable, and fast communication. We have
Mm-hmm.
quantum sensing and meteorology, where we will use quantum computer to predict the weather patterns, predict the disasters, and um, climate change modeling we can do through quantum sensing and meteorology.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum computing, which will help us, create fast algorithms. Very complicated algorithm can be easily developed in this quantum computing, and we can quickly, identify options.
Mm-hmm.
It will be basically an AI-based quantum computing, where
Mm-hmm.
complicated algorithms will be quickly calculated and deciphered, and decoding of communication modules can be done through this.
The central government is taking care of, specifically your ministry is taking care of all the R&D developments happening around the country. So do you think that and how exactly the ministry is encouraging the states to build their own R&D infrastructure and innovation ecosystem? Because states and central should go hand in hand, then only we can develop the kind of country, as we can see the country as a Viksit Bharat. So
Yeah.
what do you want to
We
say
have
about it?
wonderful schemes for the states. Like, states are our equal partners
Mhm.
when it comes to science and technology. We don't leave any state ahead. Because I have been telling, we have set up 25 technology hubs throughout the country. For us, boundaries of state are immaterial. For us, the country as a whole is important. So we have state science and technology councils.
Hmm.
We are funding these in every state in the country.
Okay.
We have set up state science and technology councils in every state in the country, and
Mhm.
we need to fund these state science and technology councils in several ways. Whatever proposals they send, these state science and technology councils, we do evaluate them and then provide them all kind of help to enable these state science and technology councils to in fact become, a role model for, it will be a modeling of DST in the state, if miniature DSTs in these state level, the state
Hmm.
science and technology councils. We have several schemes, several funding patterns for the states and science and technology councils. They are our local representatives in every state.
Hmm.
Through them, we run our state programs in all those initiatives. Apart from that, we have state climate change cells established in every state in the country.
Okay.
These climate change cells help in predicting the climate change, disaster mitigation,
Hmm.
and state specific disaster mitigation plans, relief and rescue mechanism, because India has such a vast difference.
What's
Any plan which I make for Jammu and Kashmir may not be working in Kerala.
the
So Kerala should have its own scientific and technological plan, and Jammu and Kashmir should have its own science and technology plan. So through the state science and technology councils and the state climate change cells,
the
or they are DST's brand ambassadors in the state. They help us the state specific plans and programs which will
okay.
be different. The requirement of one state may not be same in others, but
Right.
Hyderabad is wonderful in transportation technology,
Hmm.
the EVs and mobility.
Right.
Hyderabad is an expert in e-mobility and all of mobilities. Similarly,
Right.
Indoors and health issues, Bombay, several other issues. See, every state has its own council, state science and technology councils, and depending on the requirement and the available resources in those particular states, we try to build up their science and technology ecosystem with minimum disturbance but maximum benefit.
Okay. Is there any particular success story when it comes to this state councils and their work in terms of innovating, creating the innovation hub in some states?
We have several success stories. Gujarat Science and Technology Council is doing most active, yes, and science and technology. State science and technology counted in the entire country. We have several programs.
Hmm.
I don't mean only Gujarat is doing better. That is one of our success stories. But we do have several. Tamil Nadu Science and Technology Council has a wonderful programs where they encourage scientists, particularly women scientists, and Tamil Nadu to get all our schemes, and we have Madhya Pradesh Science and Technology Council is very active. They don't have literature. They provide make literature which would be used by the scientists in Madhya Pradesh and very proactive. Karnataka State Science and Technology Council is again doing wonderful job. Maharashtra State Science and Technology. Every state has its own unique strength, and
Right.
that's is vibrant and magnified through our program. So I don't feel any state has been lagging behind or not performing to them. So every state is one success story for us.
So, since we have discussed already the state and central collaborations to develop the innovation hub and everything, let's us move to the last segment of our discussion, which is about the collaboration between internationally that the government is doing. So, with the Indo-Italian Executive Program of Corporation now in place for 25-27, how will DST implement this partnership in areas like AI, quantum, biotech? And how do such MOUs lead to real research collaborations? Could you please tell us if there are any similar collaborations with other countries for that matter?
Yeah, see, India has wonderful science and technology collaboration with every country in the world. Yes, we have been a very active member of G20, and we have, our science and technology international cooperation department has wonderful, what do you call it, MOUs between various countries. We do have multilateral agreements, bilateral agreements with several countries to progress. We have several treaties and MOUs with Italy, France. We have we have four multilateral bilateral bodies. Indo-US, we have one fantastic Indo-US Forum for Science and Technology, which is located in Delhi. And we have one more Indo-German Science and Technology Council, We have Indo-French Science and Technology program called Advanced Research Program called IFCPRA, CFIPRA, and in addition, we have International Solar Alliance. You have
Yeah.
mission education with 24 countries. We have collaboration.
Hmm.
International AIDS vaccine initiative we have developed. Laser interferometer gravitational wave observatory LIGO we have developed with several countries. Apart from
Hmm.
that, we have several multilateral collaborations like EU case of we have collaboration. ASEAN is one body where we have collaboration with all Southeast Asian countries. BRICS is another multilateral body where we have wonderful science and technology collaboration.
Hmm.
IPSA, BIMSTEC, ASEMA. We have multilateral programs with in the field of science and technology with all the countries.
Hmm.
Okay, we do have NAM and SNT UNESCO programs been running, and we
Hmm.
have Army group meeting, and its spin-off on GSO,
Hmm.
GRIs. In the field of geospatial, we have wonderful international
Hmm.
collaboration. And Japan, we have the most fantastic program called Sukura,
Okay.
in which students from Japan come to India, stay with
Hmm.
us for 15 days, learn our science, technology, innovation, and culture, and go
Hmm.
back. And around 80 students from India in two batches go to
Hmm.
Japan
Hmm.
under the Sukura program. We do send mentors and teachers along with the students to Japan, and
Hmm.
they go to Japan from India. These students are selected from all over the country
Hmm.
between each group of 8 to 15 based on their professional excellence in innovation.
Hmm.
These students are selected by the state S&T councils, and they are recommended. We shortlist them and then we take them to Japan. The entire cost of their travel to Japan, staying there,
Hmm.
their hospitality, everything is taken care by the Japan government.
Okay.
Similarly, last year for the first time, Indian government reciprocated the hospitality given by the Japanese government to the Indian
Hmm.
students, but inviting 15 Japanese students here.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
stayed here for 2 weeks. They had a wonderful experience moving around the length and breadth of the country. They met
Hmm.
various industries. They met certain startups. They had an opportunity to meet all the some of the innovators.
Hmm.
Uh, this is Indo-Japan. We have science ambassadors in uh,
Right.
6 countries. One scientific attaché in USA, one
Hmm.
scientific attaché in Russia, one
Hmm.
scientific attaché in Japan, one scientific attaché in Germany, and
Hmm.
recently we have created one scientific attaché in London. The first scientific attaché has been selected. The formal procedure of approval and then placing them in London will take another 1 or 2 months. Apart
Hmm.
from that, we are in the early stage of preparation of creating a post of scientific attaché in Vienna,
Okay.
Geneva.
Geneva. Yes. Yes. So, talking about the international collaboration, my last question will be: in the last few years, the government of India and the ministries under, including the DST, has shown us the fact that India has a very good relationship with many of the countries at the moment. And there are, as you mentioned, there are several collaborations because of the good relationship with our country. So, how India is leveraging the international collaborations through DST mainly to boost its global scientific standings, and are there any new upcoming tie-ups with countries or global research institutions?
Like India has almost successfully had productive cooperation with all the countries in the world.
Hmm.
We are in the path towards becoming Vishwa Guru. To achieve this, we have uh, we have started this process of scientific diplomacy. This is one of the soft diplomacy where our scientists become brand ambassadors who spread the message loud and clear to the entire world that India has such wonderful science and technology. You won't believe, sometime I was a part of this G20 delegation in Brazil, and most of the developing countries, once upon a time, we were a developing country, but now we are one of the developed countries. Okay? So I was very curious. Your DPI infrastructure, digital payment interfaces, that has become one of the, you know, uh, uh, people start all over the world admire us for the scale in which we have brought digital inclusion and digital payments, which is being implemented in India. In different countries like Indonesia, you know, Brazil, um, Malaysia. So they all approach India. Can you please guide us with your technology? Can we have access to the know-hows of these technologies? How we can also scale this kind of large-scale implementation of digital payment interfaces? So that is one of our success stories in the international. Wherever you go, you're recognized by the scale in which we have achieved and the speed at which we have achieved is probably to reach the first 10,000 digital transactions. We may have taken a long time, but from the first, from the 10, one translation to what we have millions and billions of translations now, that is one of the success stories which the entire world has appreciated India for. And there are some of these small countries which do not have their own digital infrastructure, public infrastructure, or this kind of financial transactions. They do approach India for its technologies. That way, we are already leading the world in this particular area, and there are several other areas. And we have telescopes of high magnitude installed, which is done with the international collaboration. We have 15 research group participating in ALICE, ALIC, wonderful program created by Department of Science and Technology and implemented by Department of Science and Technology for first brain drain.
Okay.
Our scientists and innovators and PhDs have migrated to countries like US and UK for better opportunities. But now that really India is also very good in terms of opportunities, we have created a tailor-made program called BIBAM, which we have been attracting. We have given a call and we have selected 28 scholars under BIBAM. We will encourage them to come to India for a period of 6 months or 8 months or 1 or 2 years maximum. They can come work with some of the universities here, like a professor from Stanford has been encouraged to come to India to establish a collaboration with the local university, and they have this kind of mobiles. And ultimately, who knows, one day they will decide to stay back in India. So this reverse brain drain, which brain drain has already happened. We are doing brain gain through bio. We will give initiatives to these PhDs or professors or scientists and innovators who have gone there 20 years back, 30 years back, happily settled there. But if they want back, we give them special incentives, motives, and it's like a welcome back program. Why? From the due to the evolving situation in the world scenario, people who have completed their PhD in UK, in any other, particularly in US, the present We are in the process of devising a new scheme, but creating a new scheme through
Mm-hmm.
which we can give postdoctoral fellowship.
Okay. Okay.
Those PhDs, people who have completed in US, if they want to
Mm-hmm.
return back to India for a
Mm-hmm.
postdoctoral fellowship, we have
Mm-hmm.
22 autonomous organizations of DST all over the country, and these can be attracted to do their postdoctoral fellowship here with a decent funding from DST. I mean, it's still in the process of evaluating, but it will emerge one day.
Right, right. So as we already know that India is already going for a reverse brain drain or brain gain,
Yeah.
basically. Yes. So thank you for discussing how the Viksit Bharat 2047 is going to be look like with ministries, initiatives, schemes, policies, central state collaborations, and India international collaboration, of course. Thank you, Dhanlakshmi ma'am, for joining us for the Good Governance series. And thank you for being a part.
Thank you very much. It was indeed a great pleasure from you so to
Thank you.
interact with you. I have given a good picture of DST's international presence and presence in India, and how DST handholds all the states, and
Mhm.
how particularly women are being, you won't believe 21% of the DST's funding in extramural R&D goes to women.
Okay. That sounds very interesting and very encouraging. I believe all our viewers who are women, they will be more encouraged to know that the ministry is working throughout for each and every part of the country, each and every sector of the country. Like the last person of the country should get all the benefits, and women, of course, should get the lead also. Thank you, Dhanlakshmi ma'am, for joining us. Uh, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.